And good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to Formula 2. After after a while, it's finally back, and we are ready to get this season underway. Welcome, everybody. It is your lead commentator, Robert, as per usual. And just like earlier today, joining alongside me is Joe. There.
Hello, everybody, and finally, the first race of the 2022 Formula 2 season is finally with us, and that's a track that is returning for the first time in 3 seasons. In fact, the last race was in 2019, and hopefully this time it's not as chaotic as what it was. But given the stuff that Flo has said about it, it should be a better race than what we've had here in the past.
Yeah, indeed. Hopefully, nobody will run out of fuel this time. And yeah, it's the first voted track as well. So there's that. This is what the people have voted for, and I think they've made a good decision. Now then, before we begin this session, we might as well go through the driver lineup for those of you who do not know what it is. We're gonna do two teams each, so we're gonna take turns. So here we go. High-Tech Grand Prix, we have Agi Prazan and Ruslan Protsiuk. Whenever Josie, we have Andrei Sazonov and Fotjana Chachayana.
Charoux Racing System, we have Joseph Frederick Suto and Alexander Arnold to the same lineup as last season. And at Dams, we have Jafari Blackwood and DTM champion Kaiser Resnia.
Yes, at MP Motorsport, we have Samuel Oskan and Tobias Kress. At Trident, we have Aaron Curtis and Adam Cho.
Over at Prema Racing, we have Agatina Bavona and Wojtek Kulizek. And over at Carlin, we have Jake Tilsley and a returning Nicolas Zorbach.
Yes, that's right. At VAR, we have Santino Andreoli and Hento Sonome. And at our Grand Prix, it's a Brazilian lineup of João Pedro Corbi and Bernardo de Oliveira. And finally,
Campos Racing, we have an all British lineup of Alex Proster and James Sturt.
yep, that's right. Thank you, Joe. And since we are here in Turkey, it's obvious we should briefly mention the obviously the earthquake. We are sending our prayers to everyone affected in the area, and hoping there aren't too many fatalities. That's what I'm hoping. I think this is the best way to put it. But let's begin this session. Should be an entertaining one.
Yep, indeed, and hopefully, for anybody wondering, of course, this track was obviously voted before the devastating earthquake that happened today. So this was just a pure coincidence that we ended up here in Turkey. But sending our best wishes to all the families who have been affected by it, including the surrounding countries as well, who also may have felt the earthquake as well.
Yeah, that's right. Well said. Leonland, let's get this show on the road. Who's gonna take the first pole of the season? Well, we're gonna have bone dry weather, so unlike a few seasons ago, we're not gonna have any rain, but it should be an entertaining session nevertheless. Who's gonna take pole? I have absolutely no idea, but here we go. On board Sazonov on his open wheel debut, should we say? Because this is the first time he's racing an open wheeler.
Yep, he's mainly been known in the touring car series. Of course, he is the final ever BTCC champion and had a decent outing in DTM last season. But now he's crossed over into the Formula cars, and he's hoping to do a repetitive job. And looking at the pace how he did in pre-season testing, he looked pretty okay.
Yeah, I'll say. Yeah, I think he's definitely got a chance to have a good season. Now, of course, it's gonna be all up to him to see whether he can do it or not. I think someone else is going out first.
Yep, indeed, and Flo giving us a bit of a reference there that this is the first season that Sazonov has actually had his actual name for the entirety of the season. Because for anybody who didn't know, for the last few seasons, me and Flo have been accidentally spelling Sazonov's last name wrong. We'd be spelling it with an A instead of an O for his fourth letter. So we eventually found that out in the second half of the DTM season and eventually got it changed. But this is the first full season that he's actually got his actual spelling correct for his last name.
Yep, that's right. Either way, the pronunciation doesn't really change much. As Bernardo de Oliveira was the first one to go out on track, let's talk about him real quick because he's coming from the entrance series straight to Formula 2. A big step up, I think, but he's here to show that he deserves to be here, so let's see what he's got.
Yep, indeed, and he'll be hoping to do a good job in Formula 2. And ART, I think they've been kind of okay looking at them in preseason testing, but we've said many times before it is only testing, and things can usually change throughout the season. And F2 and even DTM are a good case for that.
Yeah, absolutely right. Don't forget in F2, everyone starts the same. The stat progression only affects things starting with round 2. So here we go, De Oliveira on board the lap of Istanbul Park. Here we go. The run towards turn 1 is not really that long, but you have to be careful in this 90-degree left-hander. Then, take as much grab as you like on exit. Just make sure not to unsettle the car for the flat-out long swooping right-hander here in towards turn 3. Another 90-degree corner, but this time it's downhill as you go through into 4, flicking the car in. And then on the exit, carry the speed into 5, get up the gears here, and unleash that speed in towards turn 7 as the Oliveira sets a 37.0 in the first sector. On the exit of turn 7, it's important to position the car well to prepare for the next long swooping left-hander of turn 8. It's a multiple apex corner, and it's an incredible challenge no matter what conditions it's in. As the Oliveira has completed turn 8, in towards turn 9 we go down the hill here, as up the hill now through the chicane. So 57.3 in the middle sector for the Oliveira, so let's see where he's going to end up. As everyone says their lap. Through turn 11, sorry. Through turn 11 that was, and now up towards turn 12, the left, right, left chicane, which rounds off the lap. He's got a good run-in, good entry, and a rapid change of direction to the right, and then once again to the left. And don't take too much curb on exit, you don't want to unsettle the car, but that should be a lap of Istanbul Park. I hope you enjoyed it with me. And yeah, 133.0, which makes him the fastest. Of course, he's the only car to set a lap. James Sturt goes faster though. What about Jafari Blackwood? Blackwood goes third fastest. Andreoli, on his return to F2, goes fourth. Broster goes fastest. Kirby goes second fastest. Sazonov, where can he go, I wonder? As he is getting ready to cross the line, here goes Andrei Sazonov. And he goes second fastest. Vojta Kulisec is next. And Kulisec is going to go fastest of them all. Sinonome next goes only fifth fastest for him. Joseph Frederick Suto goes ninth quickest. Chochanat goes fifth fastest. Oskan goes 11th only. Not good for him for the runner from last season. Telesnia goes 13th. Curtis 14th. 6th. Arnold goes 5th fastest. Bivona goes 5th fastest now. Tobias Kraz goes 8th quickest. Adam Choba now goes to the top of the pile. Good effort from him. As Protsu goes 6th quickest. Back 19th fastest. And finally Tilsley goes 31st.
Some very interesting first laps. I did point out as well, whilst we were riding on board with Bernardo de Oliveira, he did actually make a mistake going through into turn 3. I did notice that his wheel was wobbling quite a lot, so maybe more time to find for the young Brazilian.
Well, it could definitely be the case. This track, it's easy to make a mistake, but you can make up time definitely if you hook the other laps nicely. And of course, the lap limit has been increased from 4 up to 5 last season, so we're not gonna have to worry about people getting the checkered flag. They're gonna have the time to do all the runs they want.
Yep, indeed, and that's obviously a very, very good thing, of course, because we have seen a few times, especially in the DTM preseason test this past weekend, especially at Imola, that drivers tended to finish quite early, so that's obviously a good thing that that's been eliminated for this in F2. You there, Rob? I think Rob's a bit silent on my end, so if he's got a bit of an issue.
But it should be a little bit better now, the lag.
There we go, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I was having some lag sorry about that.
Anyway, so far then, Curtis 1.9 seconds off. Now, I don't know if he made a mistake on his lap or not, but it seems a little bit off considering that the next nearest driver to him is 9 tenths ahead of him.
Yeah, it's a little weird. And as he's going back to the garage, I'm not really
Something.
sure what to say about this, but Aaron Curtis will be hoping for an improvement, that is for sure. And he was behind another car, I'm not quite sure whom. Oh, it was Teresnia who passed him, look. Right
Yep,
out
so
there.
it may explain why Curtis is way down because he got overtaken there. So more lap time to find for the 2020 GP2 champion, who is desperate this season to finally make it into the top class.
Yes, indeed, and get his first win, as a matter of fact, as well, because even though he won a championship, he has still never won a single race. And that is something sticking out like a sore thumb in his resume. And I'm sure he'll want to win a race this season. And who knows? Maybe even tomorrow's race, if he can get qualifying a little bit better than this.
Perhaps indeed, and somebody's just actually pointed out in the chat, in fact, that both Shane and in fact Crest have actually set an identical time to each other in ninth position. So very, very close indeed.
Oh, yes, indeed. Absolutely right, Joe. And an entertaining session so far, I'll say, as someone is getting ready to go out. Broster is already out on the racetrack, but who else is joining him?
We will see, of course, but Broster is going out, and I just pointed in the little chat that we're in that Kulizek is actually running a Thomas Enger helmet this season. So obviously, for anybody
That's
who doesn't know,
nice.
in past season in GP2, there was a bit of a meme with the 2001 Prost drivers in this series, where for some reason Frentzen and Enger's name appeared in a couple of drivers for some reason.
Yeah, indeed, that Silverstone race, it was legendary. Enge is back, oh no.
Yeah, indeed, and oh yeah, and that reminds me as well. It's because I noticed somebody else's helmet. Zolbak's got Heinz Frenzen's helmet, so
God,
coincidental there.
brilliant.
So
Brilliant,
yeah,
whatever the hell you want to call it, it is brilliant. And Joe, once Broster begins his lap, would you like to take us through it?
as soon as we get to Bristol, that is, and there is the Frentzen helmet for reference. In fact, with Haas stickers on it, because of course he is also the Haas reserve driver, is Nicholas Zolbak, and there is the Thomas Enger helmet for Wojtek Kulizek. But anyway, Broster is about to start his lap now in the Campos, currently up in third position on his return to the feeder series as he now makes his way down towards the first corner. Any traffic for him coming out on the exit? I don't think there is, so he should get a clear lap in front through turn 2. There is a bit of traffic in front, but it is too far away for him to get into the gearbox. So into turn 3, where we saw Bernardo de Oliveira make a mistake on his first flying lap. Through turn 4, a very pretty much you have to slow it down pretty much straight away after turn 3 because it means to be going through turn 5, flat through turn 6 at the end of the first sector where he finds himself 1/10 off his personal best. Heading up towards turn 7 now then on the track, and can be an overtaking zone that we've seen in the past in previous series, and whether that will be the case for F2 we'll have to wait and see. Now through the famous part of the track, the infamous turn 8, which is a quadruple, I think it is, a quadruple section of left-handers before you make your way down towards this little run before heading down towards turns 9 and 10. And also a common overtaking place, but we have seen in the past, well, there has been a few collisions in this series before, but hopefully from what Flo
Oh,
has reassured us
yes.
about, that shouldn't happen too often this time by, and in fact we have seen an overtake done cleanly here during this qualifying session, so it shouldn't be an issue. Flat out through this right-hander before making our way towards the final 3 corners of turns 12, 13 and 14. Coming down towards the hairpin now then can also be an overtaking spot on this track through the left-hander, then through the right, and then through into the final corner we'll go. As now Broster is about to finish his lap now then. I don't expect this to be an improvement for the Campos driver, who is up in third place at the moment. But Broster across the line, he will go, and he stays in third position. A very clean lap there indeed, despite the fact that he didn't improve.
Yep, that's right. He got it pretty much all cleanly, as Jafari Blackwood is next to cross the line. I expect him to improve. Where is he going to end up, I wonder? Blackwood goes fastest.
Very good time, and Oliveira, as expected, goes up into fourth position. So he was able to rectify the mistake he made, and De Oliveira goes up into fourth. Here comes James Sturt, who's up on his personal best in the Campos. Sturt currently down in 15th. Can he get himself into the top 10? Let's see.
He'd sure like it. Let's see as he crosses the line, and here goes Sturt. He goes 7th.
Here comes Oscar, who goes 14th, the man who finished runner-up last season, of course, still not in the top 10. Arnold doesn't improve. His teammate also didn't improve as well. Selenome doesn't. Andreoli crosses the line to go up into 8th position. As now Kirby crosses the line, stays in 9th. Ruslan Protsuk, who was very quick in pre-season testing, goes into 9th for his new Team High Tech Grand Prix. Sereznia goes 15th for that lap, and Sazonov not on an improvement as we speak.
Nope. And on the topic of Samirozkan, I would like to say this could be considered a home race for him, given that I believe he has Turkish heritage.
Oh, he claims he's got heritage in many countries, so we'll leave it at
Well,
that.
yes,
But,
that's true.
top,
Here we have
top
Curtis. Can he improve? He can, up to 12 fastest.
KF Chani goes into 4th position. Tosley is now down into last, and the underdriver is second. He does improve, but stays in last as Crest does not improve, and he stays in 15th place. So Jafari Blackwood currently at the top of the moment, and this is coming from a driver who said he might be in for a very long season after a tough preseason tests.
Well, I think he might want to reevaluate that statement now because uh, preseason doesn't really mean anything. Once we get out on the track for real, that's when it matters. Where you are in preseason doesn't really mean anything, honestly.
But meanwhile is up on his personal best, and now he goes to the top of the timing sheet. So back to the top goes Adam Chobot.
He wasn't off that top spot for long, was he, Joe?
No, he had it for a bit, but Chobot responded pretty well indeed and goes back to the top on a 1 minute 32.120, 85 thousandths quicker than Jafari Blackwood.
And I have to say, this move, him to Trident, sounds like a dream move because let's not forget he finished in the top 5 in the championship back when Aaron Curtis won it, so he has been close to the front. And now he's moved to a team where he hopes he can challenge for pole positions and wins more often. Because obviously, after a good 2020, he had a difficult 2021.
Yep, indeed. And so far, in fact, the two. I was going to say the two Dams cars, but then I realised that Kirishani is not Blackwood's teammate anymore. That is Kai Sereznia, who's now his teammate. Kirishani is now a Uni Virtuosi driver. So he's up in 4th place, but his former teammate Blackwood currently on the front row at the moment. As Chobot will be making his way back into the pits this time by. And so far at the top at this stage, still the only one on track, but I expect some movement to happen in the pit lane very soon, which there is at the moment. And it's going to be Jafari Blackwood who's going to try and respond, if he can, to Adam Chobot.
Well, he's gonna try as I finally got my leg sorted. Don't know why it happened again, but nevertheless, Blackwood is out on the racetrack. He'll be hoping he can prolong this nice little ding dong battle he's having with Chobot pole position, I'm sure.
Yep, indeed, as Blackwood now then is preparing to start his next flying lap. Also on the track, we have Bivona and also De Oliveira as well. And so they'll be looking to see if they can improve as well. Same for Alex
Roster
Brogan.
also.
Yep. Obviously, for anybody who's not familiar with series, of course, normally if it is set to like all 22 cars to go out on track, sometimes what happens is GP4 decides on the second flying laps, one driver usually gets left behind, and I wasn't really sure who was left behind on that occasion, to be honest, Rob.
I'm thinking it was Bivona because I remember watching it was only Chobot and Bivona left in the pits, and then Chobot went out on track.
Yeah, indeed, and obviously Pavona looking to see if he can get anywhere near his teammate Kulazek, who's so far up in 3rd position, as Chobot is ready to go back out. Same for two other drivers as well, one of them being Ruslan Protsuk that's waiting to go back out. And I must say, it is a little bit bizarre seeing Protsuk in a high-tech Grand Prix because we've been used to him for the last few seasons racing in an MP Motorsport, but after a bit of a swap deal with Samatoskin, he's now racing at high-tech. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit strange to see him not in MP Motorsport colours.
Yeah, indeed. It's especially since I couldn't be here during preseason. It's quite something to see him in a new team like this.
Yep, but for him, he's hoping that he can finally make his way into the top class, like with Aaron Curtis as well, as Blackwood goes down on his personal best by 600ths of a second.
Well, I'm not sure if he'll be able to improve or not, as I think Kaitsaresnia is that there is a track in front of him. I'm not even sure, honestly, but Joe Trident has gone out on track, and Cress is being left in yellow flags.
It's Sturt. It's a mechanical failure for James Sturt. So that's his session done with because of the spare car ban.
Yep, that's right. Spare car ban being implemented, which means Sturt will start tomorrow from 8th place or lower.
Yep, and not quite sure what the mechanical failure was, but it has definitely taken him out regardless of that, and the marshal doing everything he can to clear him back, and it happened just as he was approaching turn 1.
Yeah, look, out of nowhere, and is that suspension failure or something like
I
that?
think it says transmission failure because there's nothing on the bottom right of the indicator which says it's suspension, so I think it's a gearbox
Right,
issue for James
transmission.
Sturt.
Well, his gearbox failed on him, and unfortunately, Sturt debut on F2 won't be from the top 8, assuming people improve and beat him.
Indeed, and of course the spare car ban will get implemented once his car is spawned back into the garage, of course. And now it's
Here
in the
goes
garage.
Blackwood
Is he there?
finishing a lap.
It's not there at the moment because, of course, Crest this was originally going to stay behind me. Given that Sturt is now pulled off, we should be expecting Crest to go out on track very soon.
Yeah, indeed. Meanwhile, Bavona looks like he's trying to get some slipstream from his teammate, but he's about to finish this lap. And where can Agatino Bavona go? Of course, the 2020 Formula E champion. He does not improve on that lap. Stays where he is. The Oliveira doesn't improve either. Oscar improves to go up to 7th fastest, so knocks third down a place. Brosser goes back into third. So that's good for him, obviously, as he left Ceresnia, the DTM champion. Whereabouts can he go? In qualifying, he goes into the top 5. Good effort there. Sazonov, he doesn't improve. And just before Suto goes 14th fastest. Sinonome next to cross the line. Can the Japanese driver improve? No.
Prazan, meanwhile, is up on his personal best. Prazan currently down in 20 as we speak. It was just saw Tobias Crest go out onto the racetrack as now Prazan makes his way onto the pit straight now then, and the Indonesian driver will come across the line, and he goes 15th with that lap.
Yeah, good improvement. As next is Alexander Arnold. Whereabouts can he go? He doesn't improve, loses time in the last sector there. Aaron Curtis goes up to third. Great effort from the Trident. Andreoli goes 11th. JP Kirby doesn't improve.
That would now into the pit, so I wonder if Sturt's car will spawn so that we can implement that spare car ban on him.
Hopefully.
But across the line, seeing if he can improve on his 1 minute 32.120, but he doesn't.
Can't.
He stays on that lap time.
Zorback next, and he can't improve, unfortunately. But
Sturt
Sturt
goes
had.
fastest.
Wow, that came out of nowhere. But as I was saying, Sturt is now down in 12 fastest, so unfortunately for him, he won't get a chance to improve on that.
Brilliant lap from Wojtek Kulzet, though, to go fastest on a 1:32.089. Now, is he in the garage, Sturt? That is the question. We haven't seen his name come up yet because, of course, he needs to have the spare car ban implemented onto him, as waiting to see if that spare car ban will get implemented soon. But that's everybody on this particular occasion done with their runs.
Kulesic was the surprise, honestly, because last time he was in the feeder series, he really struggled, like a lot. But I think he's reinvented himself, and in 2022, who knows what he's going to be able to do.
Last season, he spent the 2021 season back in Formula E, of course, with the Group 2 Envision Virgin Racing car, and he pulled off some very, very good results in that car, along with his teammate Alex Poster, another driver who's also back in the feeder series as well. Both of them rejuvenating themselves in that series, same with Santino Andreoli as well, and they're looking to see if they can put that to the test here back in the feeder series.
Well, Andreoli led for much of the championship last season in Formula E and only just lost it at the last race. So I think he feels the most rejuvenated out of all of these guys, to be honest with you.
As now the spare car ban has now been put onto James Sturt as his car finally spawned into the garage. So, yeah, that will be him done for the session. And he's been pushed out of the top 10 since his mechanical failure. So he'll be hoping he doesn't drop back any further.
Yep, that's right. As Tobias Kress, we're on board with him right now. He went out on track after Sturt's failure, but is currently not up on his personal best, just under 2 tenths down.
Indeed, as now we look at Kress, who's going down towards the final 3 turns on the racetrack as more cars go back into the pits. So for Kress, it's been a relatively clean lap for the German, but it looks like he's not going to improve regardless.
No, definitely not.
Out of the final turn he goes, and onto the pit straight will go Tobias Kress in the MP Motorsport. Across the line he will go, and he stays in 20th.
No improvement as expected.
As more cars have come out on track, and the first one out for this group is Bernardo de Oliveira.
Yep, indeed. Is there anybody else joining him? Looks like Broster and Blackwood and Bavona are also out on track at the present moment.
Yep, indeed, and I must say, obviously, Bernardo's obviously got a Felipe Massa helmet, but I must say, with the colour he's got, that definitely suits the ART that he's driving, that is for sure.
Yeah, I'll say.
But anyway, as Bernardo will be starting his lap very, very soon now, then, as he makes his way down towards turns 9 and 10, and looking to see if he can get any higher than 8th.
Yeah. We'll see, of course, as he's just about getting ready to get it started. Not a lot of cars out on track, though. He'll be hoping one of the cars going out about now doesn't impede him.
Yep, as now he comes around the final few turns on the racetrack, and we will obviously find out, of course, once he comes out of the first corner, whether or not he's going to get his lap impeded or not.
He'll be hoping that's not the case, but here we go with Bernardo de Oliveira. This is his This is his fourth run, if I'm not mistaken.
It looks like fourth judging from the death panel, so
Yeah, fourth.
yeah.
Well, it looks like nobody impeded him, so that's good.
Yep, into the corner where he made a mistake, of course, on his first flying lap, but no such issues this time for him, as he now goes through turns 4, 5, and 6, and we'll see if he's up on his personal best in the first sector or not.
Yes, indeed we will, and he is down by a big margin.
2 attempts to be exact there, and well, that's pretty much that. And
This
so
lap is
yeah,
already a write-off.
unless he can find some kind of miracle in the last 2 sectors, I think he's probably going to remain in 8th after this lap.
Yeah, indeed.
As he now comes down towards turns 9 and 10 and approaching the end of the second sector. In fact, with both Proster and Andreoli close behind him, as now it's 7 attempts down in that middle sector. To Kulas that is, and 3 attempts off his personal best. So, yep, this lap is pretty much a write-off for him.
Yep, indeed. And next one to set a lap time, I'm not even sure who it's going to be, honestly, but we'll be staying with De Oliveira just a little bit longer until he crosses the line. Through the right hand, there he goes, and then flicking the car into turn 14, the last corner, which is deceptive. Is quite deceptive because it invites you to take a lot of speed, but if you take up too much speed, you'll just understeer off track. As De Oliveira doesn't improve, neither does the car who was behind him.
It might have been Burton. I think Andreoli didn't improve either. Although for some reason we're not flicking to other cars at the moment. I think he's
Blackwood has improved. He's back in second place.
Blackwood now to second. The top 3 now only separated by 300ths of a second. I think Flo has actually disappeared somewhere because we're not transitioning cars at the moment. I wish he'd mentioned that when he was disappearing. But yeah, so far Blackwood were the only ones doing improvement as he's gone up into second position. And so that's pretty much that. As now, so far, in fact, there's still a few more cars that still need to go out onto the track, of course. Obviously, we're still expecting Tilsley to get out on track. But,
As well as Crest.
Them goes up into 21st, meanwhile. And so that's that, really. As, well, Kirby has gone up into 4th position now, and the other
He
ART
split it to Trident.
Yep, indeed, as De Oliveira is now going to be coming back into the pits very, very soon. And so De Oliveira now then coming around the final few turns on the racetrack now then. And as now he makes his way into pit lane. And So that is the Oliveira now. Then back into the pit lane he will go, and so I think Flo has disappeared for quite a while here. It's fair to say.
Yeah, indeed. It's a little bit of a surprise. I hope he's okay.
Yes, indeed. As there we go. He's now flicking through. I think he's only just he's obviously disappeared a lot longer than he thought. But Keoshane is up on his personal best.
Let's see if he can get a good improvement under his belt. Yes, he can. He's gone for fastest.
Yep, indeed. As Prazan
Robot
doesn't,
didn't improve.
or did Prazan and Zorbak's gone up to 20th, but not really ideal on his return.
No, definitely not. As Kulisec, still the fastest driver out on track, doesn't improve on this lap.
As Tilsley's about to start another lap very, very soon. Of course, everything's kind of unconjoined, it's fair to say, as because
Yeah,
obviously ever since what's his name's mechanical failure, James,
Turk.
it's obviously muddled things around when it comes to groups. So Tilsley's going to be on his own on this occasion.
Yeah, Kress might join him, but I'm not so sure. Either way, Tilsley's got the track mostly to himself, so he'll be hoping he can get a nice improvement in there.
As let's see what he's able to do as he goes around turns 5 and 6 now. Then on the racetrack, and let's see what his first sector is going to look like. 1/10 down on his personal best there, and he's currently in 15th place. So unless he can find some time in the last 2 sectors, it's probably going to look like he's going to stay there due to how much time there is left in the session.
Yeah, this will definitely be his last flying lap.
He goes around the infamous turn 8 now. Then this quadruple left-hander now. Then as he will now come down towards the end of sector 2 very, very soon.
Yep. Into turn 9 we go, hard on the brakes and quick on the throttle. As in towards turn 11 here, he is still down on his personal best, so I don't expect him to improve. But I have been wrong before, you know. So who knows really. As in towards the final chicane goes Jake Dillsley, hard on the brakes and turning in sharp and early. Through turn 12 into 13, flicking the car in, and then finally turn 14. Careful not to get on the throttle too early. And there you go. That is the lap completed. And let's see, can he improve? No, he cannot.
Hope he stays where he is for the time being, as now more cars have come out for what will be the final flying lap of the session.
Yep, indeed, we're gonna have to be mindful of the 1 minute 32 mark for when people go out on track, of course, because we're getting quite close to it. It's just a few seconds away, as De Oliveira has just gone out on track, so he'll make it through and get a 5th lap under his belt. I'm not so sure how many other people will get to do the same.
Yep, as Chris now then comes around the final few turns on the racetrack to start his next lap. 39, 38, 37, 36, 35,
That should be
34,
it.
33, 32. So, yep, we've already reached that cut-off point. So anybody who's not out now, they will not be able to do one more flying lap.
Nope, unfortunately not. So Klosic will have to hope he can hold on to pole as things stand. But here goes Tobias Kress on his flying lap.
Yep, and no traffic issues for him at the moment, and he needs it to be no traffic issues because so far he's going to be on the back row of the grid if things stay as it is.
Yeah, he can still rectify things, of course, but let's see what his pace is like in Sector 1.
See now, then coming out of turn number 6 there, and he's up on his personal best by 66 thousandths of a second.
That's goody. Let's see if he can keep this up, though.
He goes up the hill and now approaching the infamous turn 80 will go as he's coming up to the back of Alexander Arn, who's just getting some mileage in what has been a tricky qualifying for him. He's going to be starting in at least, at the very most, 19th, so not exactly the start he wanted to the season. As now Cress comes down towards the end of Sector 2 now then, and let's see if he's still up. And yes, he is by a 10th of a second, but if I was to guess, he'll probably end up maybe only gaining a few spots at the moment.
He could find himself into the top 16, I wager.
We'll see anyway as the seconds tick down. So 10, 9, and now we're on 8, 7, 6, and now 5, 4, and now 3, 2, and 1, and
Checkered flag.
0. Checkered flag is out, and that signifies the end of the session. Crest, can he improve? Across the line, he will go, and he improves and up to 16th. So you were right there, Rob.
Goody. Blackwood next to finish a lap. Can he steal pole position away from Kulisic at the end of things, or will he have to sell for second? He has to sell for second. A woeful lap, I'm afraid. The Oliveira does not appear to be on an improvement. So let's see as he's getting ready to cross the line. Here goes the Brazilian. Can he get that improvement? No, he'll be starting P9 or worse. We have Agatino Bivona, a man who's desperate for an improvement, currently down in P19. I'm sure he wants to rectify that as quick as he can, and let's see where he's going to end up. As Bivona crosses the line, stays where he is. He lost time in the last sector. He must have made some sort of mistake. Just
I
if
think
Felix
it
Soto
came,
were on board with him. Sorry?
I was just going to say, I think the mistake came at the penultimate corner because I saw his car flick a bit. So I think it happened just at the final few corners where his mistake happened.
Right. Sameroska next to cross the line. Can he get an improvement? Currently in P10 he is. I'm afraid he cannot get an improvement, and neither can Kaitsresnia as he is about to cross the line. Is that everyone done with? No, not yet. Curtis and Sazanov don't improve, neither does Kurbi. I think that is it, which means Vojta Kulisic is our first pole sitter and our early championship leader as a result of getting the bonus points.
He gets the first 4 bonus points of the season, so Kulisek as a result takes the early lead in the championship and the first pole of 2022.
I think he'll be delighted with that one, honestly. It's been a very entertaining qualifying session with the top spot always changing. Uh, we had Blackwood and Chobot trading places a few times, but in the end it was Wojtek Kulisic who ended up fastest with Jafari Blackwood in second and Adam Chobot in third. Faccianca China is in fourth place with JP Kirby in fifth. And Curtis is P6 followed by Alex Broster, and behind him it is Katsarasnia. Bernardo de Oliveira is P9 with Samaras can P10 and Andy Sazonov in P11.
It's Santino Andrioli in 12th with James Sturt, who obviously had the session cut due to a mechanical failure in 13th. With Ruslan Protsu 14th, Jake Tosley is in 15th, with Tobias Crest in 16th, Joseph Frederick Suto down in 17th, Aji Prazan in 18th, Agatina Bavona in 19th, Alexander Arnold confirming a disappointing qualifying session for Charus in 20th, with Nicolas Orbach in 21st, not exactly what he wanted, and Hento Tinanome in 22nd and last. The Hog Pack separated by 7/10 of a second.
Well, it was a close and competitive, but most importantly, a fun session to watch. I'm sure you guys are of the same opinion, but that's been it from us for today. We will see you again tomorrow with the race and also with practice and qualifying for the top classes Korean Grand Prix. Until then, that's been it from ourselves. So we'll take our leave and we'll see you again next time.
See you tomorrow.